Joe, a minute ago, I was just asking you about what you saw in the masterminds that we just had over the last few weeks.
Mm.
And I saw you light up. So I thought, oh, let's just record this.
Yeah.
So now we're in a little more formal environment, but I'm just curious, like, what are some of the things you saw? What stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, one of the more amazing things was just what can happen when you're like in an incubator of greatness, an incubator of just so much success and talent and ambition. Like I was just, my faith was elevated. My desires were elevated, just being in that room.
Yep.
So that alone was amazing, but.
Oh, context.
Yes.
We didn't really tell people the environment.
Sure, yeah.
So I had 2 masterminds, Monday, Tuesday, then Friday and Saturday. They were all business guys. Their companies were all scaling pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Some of the younger guys, their companies, I think this year were scaling like 50 million. Some of the older guys that were, as old as like 40. And, a couple of them, one of them sold his company for 1.2 billion. The other guy just had a win at 4.2 billion. Jeez. So the scale is pretty intense.
Yeah.
Maybe we had 20, 25 in the first one,
Yeah.
and 15 in the second one.
Yep.
All right. So now you're in a room of some of these guys younger than you.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of them your age.
Sure. Yeah.
And really driven, really passionate, very intense, really focused. Being in a room really makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. And you could feel just the excitement. You could feel the depth of life and experience. And so that alone was just on a personal level was huge. Just going, I left so inspired and so moved. But one of the things that really stood out to me was as successful as all of these guys were, as much as you could look at their life and see the evidence of some really incredible things, each person had some longing for a deep internal shift to happen. Whether it was character, whether it was mindsets, whether it was like something they were struggling with or dealing with. Like it was so interesting to me that regardless of how successful you are, we all still have these internal shifts that must happen. And you could see those guys, there were certain guys that really resonated with what you were saying and were leaning in. And then you could see other guys that was a little resistant at first, but it was brilliant to watch you just navigate how to help these guys grow.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting when you think about it. One thing you know for certain is there's not enough money in the world to fix you.
Yeah, right.
If you just put it simply, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because if there's a certain amount of money that you could make where finally you're fixed, these guys would have already made it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I also think there's a dynamic that it's almost like the more successful you are, the harder it is to choose to stop or slow down to fix the things you didn't fix before you were successful.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, absolutely. And that was easily some of the most profound conversations that I had with guys is, in the sessions that you were teaching and leading and guiding, a lot of some guys were taking notes and it was really hitting, but it was in all the conversations in between when guys really were open about, I just feel like I can't be honest about what I'm struggling with. I don't have anyone to chat with. So like, there's something about the power of that communal experience that when you're not doing well, that you have at least one person or at least one group that you can fully be yourself with. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions from both sides of things here.
Yeah.
One is, I remember sitting you down one time, taking you lunch with one of these guys. And afterwards, I asked you a really simple question. I said, do you think the guy's smarter than you?
Yeah.
All right. So you've been around some of the most successful people. Like in the most honest assessment, do you really think those guys are smarter than you?
Is this being recorded? Are they watching this? I do not believe that to be true.
You, at the very least, you can hold your own.
Yes. Yes, I can. Yeah.
All right. So, and a part of the reason I wanted you in some of these environments is sometimes people think, oh, I'm not smart enough or I'm not talented enough. Do you really think those guys are more talented than you?
No.
So what do you think is the ingredient that allows them to elevate beyond 99% of the people in the world?
I mean, I think it is a mindset. And I'm not even, I know your book is coming out soon talking about mindset.
A mind shift?
A mind shift. Yeah. Yes. But it's a mindset that must shift. But yes, like it is because there was guys from all different arenas, different fields, but what was singular in a lot of ways was a mindset that I can and I will. And I think that's for me a huge shift that I need to move towards, and left so inspired. And I remember that conversation that you had with me, and going, I can and I will.
Okay, I'm going to push you to the third one.
Yeah.
Because I think is a really important first breakthrough for people. And when you realize, oh, okay, I can't do this. I will is, I think, an important second step in the process.
I think I know where you're going.
Where am I going, Joe?
I must.
Yes.
Yeah.
I must.
Yeah.
The difference between those guys in the room and other individuals is the I must.
It's good. It's good.
Because I can is finally a sense of identity. I will is a future tense.
Yeah.
It's still not an action.
Yeah.
And I must is the desperation, the drive, the determination, the urgency in life.
Yep.
And one of the hardest things to give a person, I mean, it's hard enough to break the I can.
Right.
Like for a lot of people that you and I work with every day, the I can is a big part of it, right?
Sure, yeah.
Even when it comes to just their own personal character, their own well-being. Can I ever get over my temper?
Yeah,
Can I ever get over my anger issues? Can I ever get over my brokenness? Or can I ever get over this depression? And for a lot of people, I can is a huge battle for them. And even for some, I think the real honest level of I will is, it's a huge step, right?
Yep.
You know, that they want this. And to me, I will comes down to, what do you really want?
Right.
Like, what do you want for your life? You know, because maybe I want you to, be a pro athlete, but if you don't really want that outcome, you've got the nightmare coach.
Right. Sure.
Or the person who's always trying to get the single guy to get married. Right. That's like the nightmare coach. They're trying to get you to achieve in something you don't want.
Right.
The I will is the I choose this for myself. And you have to choose that, right? And I was just having a conversation with a friend recently saying, hey, financial success or financial capacity has a lot to do with your own sense of happiness too. Like if you're happy where you're at, don't feel the force of the environment trying to make you want something you don't want.
Yeah, right.
But the I must, that's the thing. That's when you as a husband go, oh, I must. Like this is something that I must do.
Yeah.
Or you as a father going, I must do this, right?
Yeah.
And or just you in terms of your own sense of calling.
Sure.
What is on you.
Yeah.
Right. And that I must, that's the hardest one.
Yeah.
Because no one can impose it on you. The difference is the alarm waking you up and you waking up.
Yep.
With alarm.
That's good.
Yep. And what's another insight that stood out to you?
I think another one, even, you talked a little bit about, there's two different groups and with different dynamics. And in the second group, you had this moment where, you maybe took off the hat you wanted to wear, or, the hat you thought the room would have needed, and then to bring actually what the room needed. And I saw just a shift in you of, I learned so much in that moment, because I think sometimes you can get caught up in, oh, this is what I need to bring, and this is what I prepared, and not actually step into the moment of what's required of it. And I just learned, just watching you shift what the room needed, and then bring it in a way that went beyond even that moment. I feel like you said things to guys in that moment that was eternal, and I think they're going to hold on to for a really long time. So I learned so much in that essence of, are you going to focus just on what you want to bring, or are you going to actually bring what your soul, your spirit is sensing, what is actually necessary?
Yeah. My ego intersection was this. All of us have to deal with ego, and what I felt internally when I was grappling with things that night was, what's more important to you? that you teach or that they learn.
Wow.
And, I was saying, well, 50-50. I have important things to teach.
You're right. Yeah.
And I felt like really my own process was, God just saying to me, it doesn't matter what you have to teach if they're not ready to learn. And what you need to ask is it more important for you that you teach than that they learn?
Yeah.
And so a huge part of the shift I had to make an hour in. I had to make it right away.
Right.
Was it doesn't matter if I teach, it matters if they learn. So now I've got to navigate this whole thing all over again.
Yep.
It's almost like I came with an airplane, but I needed a submarine.
Yeah, sure.
So I just had to just crash my airplane and jump in the submarine and hope that would take me somewhere deeper. And I think sometimes that's a hard thing because, the difference between being planned and prepared, right? You know, when you're planned and people mess up your plan, it's really frustrating. But if you're prepared and people mess up your plan, you're still prepared.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's a part of what I had to navigate. And it was definitely challenging.
For sure. Yeah. So how'd you do that? Like in the moment, how did you even step into that, knowing like what you're going to say could be even received like negatively or not, fall on deaf ears?
Yeah. I'm going to use a very old school Bible concept. The first thing I had to do was die to myself. And I just had to kill my ego.
Yeah.
And because I could feel that I was just frustrated.
Yep.
And it's a hard thing when you're sitting in front of people teaching and speaking, and what you hear inside of you is you need to kill your ego.
Wow.
Just die to yourself right now, and serve this room. And if they're not where you wanted them to be, you go where they're at.
That's good. Yeah.
Which I imagine that Jesus lived that on a 10x scale.
Right. So true.
3.5 years into it, he's still trying to explain things to Peter, and still trying to work with Thomas, and and I just imagine that Jesus would have wanted to take them from where they should have been to where he could take them, but he had to always go back to where they were.
Yeah, that's good.
And so when you ask how to make the shift, the first shift is literally humility.
Right.
And it's not about me or my desires, my intention. And then I had to make a psychological shift. I felt like, I came as a teacher, but I need to actually come back as a prophet. So I'm using a lot of biblical imagery here, but that's the way it was really coming to me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because the Monday and Tuesday group, I felt like it was, the old adage, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. They gave me a gift. The student was ready, and I was the teacher that got to come and be there and pour into their lives. And but the gift actually wasn't me. See, the gift was them.
It's good. Yeah.
And you can walk away with an idea like, wow, I was the gift.
Yeah.
But their hunger to learn and their openness and the environment that was created in that moment, that was a real gift.
Yep.
And what I had to shift was, your power is truth. Because in a sense, and I love these guys, right? But in a way, they're like, they can be bullies.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is that they have so much force, so much power, that they own every room they're in. And they're used to people revolving around their world.
Right.
And so the temptation is to bully up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's
go,
a good point.
You guys are tough, I'm tougher. Like, you guys are powerful, I'm more powerful. Like,
Right.
All right, let's go. And we're going to just have the fight in the sandlot.
Yeah.
And I felt like what I need to do is come back with an abject humility that didn't try to overpower them, but just speak truth.
Yep.
And a few things that came to my mind. One of the first things that came to mind was, tell them when you've learned from them.
Yep.
And so I went around and I said, I remember when you spoke this message in this event, and this is what I learned, and when you did,
Yeah.
And my summarizing phrase was, learning for you didn't make me less.
It's good.
Learning for you made me more.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, you're just modeling a posture of heart.
Yeah.
Like,
That's good.
learning from each other doesn't make us less. It makes us more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I get it. Like, a huge part of their credibility, of their brand, of their greatness, is that they've got it together.
Sure.
Right. But I mean, just before we started interacting and filming this, I asked you for help. I said, Joe, I need you to do something for our team. I need you to do something for me. I'm not doing this well. I need you to, lead in this arena. I don't think it's a sign of weakness. I think a sign of strength is to go, I'm not really carrying this well. I think you can do this better than me. Would you lead us in this area and lead me as well? And that was that was almost like part of the process. And then, and I'm going to go full board, God on this, because like, I prayed like crazy and I listened, and I felt like God gave me the material for the next day.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't use language like that very much, and so part of it is I walked in and began to tell them what I heard. And the great thing about it is, like, I don't say, hey, I know this is like, what God is saying to you. Your like soul will confirm it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And if it isn't accurate, you will reject it.
Yep.
And so I just went around and said, this is what I need to say to you, what I need to say to you, what I need to say to you, what I need to say to you. And when it resonates and it hits deep, you start getting an authority that doesn't come from power.
Wow. Yeah.
And I feel like that's what kind of happened.
Yep.
On the second day.
For sure.
You're, our leverage is always spirit. Like, our advantage is spirit.
Yep.
Like, when we pay attention and listen to God and enter the room in His presence, it changes the rules of the game.
Yeah. And I think, even that's so good. And on a personal level, like, being here, Mosaic, 16 years, like, under you and working closely with you for that long, that's one of the greatest gifts that I feel like I've learned. Being in your incubator is that gift of, what do you see that no one else sees, and fighting for that. I've even at the mastermind on, I don't remember what day, one of the days, we're having an hour-long conversation with guys, and they just kept asking, like, but how do you do this? And how do you do this? And how do you know that? And all, and I just always come back to a conversation we had years ago when you said, I'm going to do everything I can to teach you how to see what only God will allow you to see. And it's been one of the greatest joys of my life, is helping people connect the dots in that. But yeah, I learned that from you. You taught me how to be aware of His presence in everything. And I feel like that is rare.
So if you're going to lead the next mastermind, because part of the reason I had you there was also, I had two motives. One was to have you there as a gift to the men. And I said, basically, you're a facilitator, life coach for these guys.
Yeah.
But I also had you there because I wanted it to affect you. And I wanted you to be changed by the environment too, and wanted them to impact you. Sure. So what are some things you're going to do different?
Like, everything.
We're recording. I want this recorded. All right. We're just going to clip this section and we're going to send it to Joe's wife, Beck. And then when his kids are 18, he's going to unlock that and show them how he made commitments that changed his life and theirs. Go ahead, Joe. No pressure.
Yeah, for sure. Even I saw a post today. I don't remember who it was, where it was from, but it was something about child abuse, actually. And it said, one of the greatest acts of child abuse you could ever have is not fully living up to your potential.
I saw that one.
Yeah. And it it got in me, and for me going, like, that's what I want my greatest stewardship to be. I want to live a life that my kids know that their dad bled for, that laid the foundation for, even to build on things that my dad laid and his dad laid. But I know there's dreams and things inside of me that I've shifted to I can, and even some shift into I will, but I feel like now there's like a setting, especially in this conversation, of I must. Like I must. I want to be I feel like I'm even saying it. I want to be an author, right? I have things I feel like that God put inside of me that I want to share with the world and hopefully inspire and move the world. I want to make a lot of money for my family. I want to be a good steward of wealth and create a new relationship to wealth and money and finances and not be afraid of, I think just for a long time, just afraid of that, of what people think or what people say and a limiting mindset. And I'm just like, I just really want to focus on what the people I care about the most say and what they see and really establish a new line of faith and urgency and passion in our line.
I love that. That's so good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go more granular.
Sure. Yeah.
What's something that's going to change this week?
I mean, one is health.
Oh,
so
I love that.
Yeah. Like my health has been better. We'll put it that way, and have made shifts, but I want to be in the best shape of my life. But I'm turning 40 in August, and I want to be in the best shape of my life when like the year of 40 and moving beyond. And so this week, and even I changed diet. I've in the gym, even on a practical level, waking up. Like I want to wake up. I keep reading these passages in the scriptures where it keeps saying early in the morning, early in the morning, early in the morning. And I hear it, but I resist it.
Well, what kind of concept is this?
Yeah.
What does that mean in the Greek? It means 11.
I like the late at night, when the kids are in bed. But I think there's a practical shift in me of waking up with the level of expectation and urgency. And I think it's like getting up early and ready to roll. So 6 a.m. is like my new, putting it on record is my new alarm clock.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. It's good. That's good. Yeah, it's I rented out this suite at the LAFC match and had the first series of Mastermind guests go together. And Aaron made the observation later. He goes, "Hey, Dad, I don't know all the implications, but I think you should know that the only people who ate dessert were pastors." And I was one of them. So I said, wait a minute, I'm a businessman too.
Right.
So I only had half.
It only counts half the calories.
Yeah. But I do think there's an odd relationship, and you see that, where these individuals who are really high drivers and very ambitious, they have tremendous self-discipline.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe let's put it into a 50-50 category. Maybe 50% is vanity.
Right. Yeah.
Just want to look good.
Sure.
Right. But I think the other 50% is they know that if they're physically disciplined, it will translate to other disciplines in their life.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to escape that.
It's true. Yep.
I know it's true in my life.
Yeah.
That when I'm physically disciplined, everything else in my life just starts dominoing in a really positive way.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I end up with mental discipline and emotional discipline and relational discipline, and man, all the choices just seem to affect in that way.
Yeah. And you would say that shift has to start in your mind, right? Like that before you can go to the gym, you have to change the gym in your mind.
Yeah. What's interesting is the mind shift is about the why. Because if you go to the gym and it's because I want to be more loved, it's going to affirm the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Or you're going to the gym because I want to get more likes on Instagram. So I want to look good. Or if you're going to the gym because I want to live a disciplined life, I want to be healthy. Yep. I want to live long enough where my kid's going to have kids
right.
and be the granddad that's active.
Sure.
Like your why is the mind shift.
Yep.
And I think so oftentimes what happens is that we even do things that are the right things for the wrong reasons.
That's good, yeah.
And that's why they don't end up giving us the right results in life.
Yep.
It's just like the idea of why would like guys want to become pastors if they still want to like be wild?
Right.
Like, you
Sure.
know, I mean, we have a lot of wild friends.
Yeah.
We have a lot of friends living lives that don't match the principles that we have. And we love them and we invest in them, and, you know, but they're not pastors.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so when you choose to be a pastor, why would you choose that when your life is so inconsistent to what that demands? I think part of the reason is your why is wrong.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
like, why would you get married if you still want to have random sex with different women?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm like, just don't get married,
For
right?
sure.
You know, it's like, don't destroy someone else's psychological well-being by marrying them when you have no. I mean, I've known people who weren't faithful right before their wedding,
Yep.
during their wedding, after the wedding.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, you know, months after they got married. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's because they got married for the wrong why. And so two people do the same thing, they get married, but they're doing it for different whys.
Yep.
The mindset is in the why.
It's good. Yep.
And I think that's a great place to begin.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, it's like, even like overeating, let's say.
Yeah.
Right. You know, some people are undereaters, some people are overeaters, right?
I'd love to meet those undereaters. Yeah.
Well, they tell me I'm an undereater.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Last week when I was in my, you know, training session,
Yeah.
and I was with the person who does the blood work and all the scans, they said, you're what's known as an undereater. The reason you carry body fat is you don't eat enough food, so your body thinks it's always starving.
Wow.
And I think, well, it's because I only eat meals with people.
Sure. Right.
Eating is only a social event.
Yeah.
I would miss every meal if I was by myself.
Yep.
And but undereating and overeating can come from the same place. You might be overeating because of anxiety.
Yeah.
You might be overeating because you were abandoned as a child, and so you live with this fear of never having food. You might be overeating because, if I could just, you know, even more penetrating, I know people who overeat because they were sexually abused when they were young.
Yeah.
And the way they protect themselves is, quote, becoming less attractive.
Sure. Yeah.
And so if you don't get to the why, you know, and I look back and I realize I went 6 days once as a kid without eating.
Jeez. Yeah.
And does that have any relationship to the patterns in my life? Of course.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And so I have to like deal with the why, and then the why makes you address the inner issues, causes the mind shift, and all of a sudden you start having healthy reasons to do good things.
Yeah.
I've never been able to maintain a single healthy pattern without a healthy why.
Yeah, that's good.
You always go back to the bad pattern.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. That's
You
really
know?
good.
Yeah. So Zaya is 8 years old. He's your firstborn.
Yep.
You are now going to teach him in a mastermind. Give me 3 principles that you want Zaya to have in his life to live an optimal life that either you didn't get, or maybe in your life, maybe you got them, but you didn't know you need to get a hold of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what are you going to coach? Zaya's future's in your hands.
Yeah. It's a big step. Yeah. I mean, the first thing I think that pops in my head is that Zai, there's a uniqueness about you that was put in you from birth that God decided the world needed, and so He put it inside of you. And so you're a container for not just greatness, but you're a container for like solutions. You're a container for innovation, and I already see it in him. The beautiful thing, he's so imaginative, he's so creative, and watching his journey right now is what is actually the thing that when I put my time and energy to, my mindset to, that will create not just life in me, but actually life in the world around me. And so yeah, I would say the first thing for him is going, really understand that there's something that only you can do in the world, and it's actually going to set you apart.
All right, what's number 2?
Number 2, I would say, and this is, I mean, I'm stealing it from you, and so I'm sharing it, but that kindness is a superpower. that if you can be the kindest person in the room in every environment you step into, and when you blow it, you're going to mess it up sometimes. But if you can have that as an essence, you'll be able to actually carry that truth in a way that will resonate with people that you couldn't even imagine. And so really to fight for kindness and to resist bitterness, to resist anger and resentment, and just really, and even dig deep. And we've been having these conversations with our kids of like these virtues that aren't like a thing that you just do, but they're actually virtues that you can actually peel back layer after layer, and there's depth to it. And so, kindness is a superpower. And I'll even just, maybe the third thing, wake up every day with a sense of, if I don't do this, the must, if I don't make a choice today that isn't that I can do or that I will do, but that I must do, you're never going to find the level of fulfillment and longing that you were created for. So yeah, those are the first three things that
I love those. So good. Yeah, what echoed in my mind when you were saying the third one, wrapping it up, is maybe the most important thing you can do as a dad is give your kids permission to pursue their own greatness. You know, because you're telling him there's stuff inside of him that's a gift to the world. You're actually telling him how to give it to the world through kindness. And then you're telling him that to pursue it. You know, to have that drive, that urgency, and which is really quite beautiful. You know, that's all. All right, we're gonna close this. All right. What's one thing you wish you had learned earlier in life?
It's one thing I wish I would have learned earlier in life. That urgency can change the world. Yeah, like I
on a personal level, I feel like on a friendship level, that's the one thing I've been trying to drive inside of you.
Yep.
That's why when I used to meet you backstage before you'd speak, I'd say, "What are you mad about?"
Yep.
Or, you know, I want you to go pick a fight. Or,
Yep.
I felt like I just wanted to. You have all this talent and all this capacity. I want that fire to burn so hot that you don't know how to turn it off.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And urgency is a superpower.
Yeah.
You know, but you definitely have the superpower of kindness, which is probably my highest value. And it's just being this kind, generous creature. And that is also dangerous and unstoppable.
That's good. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Man, it's so good talking together. Thanks for giving me these few minutes.
I love this time.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I love you, bro.
Love you too.
All right.